Today, I just want to talk to you real quickly about building a Dropshot setup from scratch. I'm going to take it to the computer and show you what I own, but also what I recommend. Hey, what's going on? It's Matt. Welcome back to the channel. I've been doing a lot of thinking. What do I throw the most in the wintertime? And unfortunately, it's a drop shot. I'm not a big swim bait kind of guy, but kind of been on the market for a new drop shot setup. Now, I'm going to take this to the computer and kind of show you where I go. Obviously, there's a lot of good places to buy tackle online, rods and reels and lures and such, but I'm going to show you exactly what I'm thinking about picking up. It's not going to surprise some people who've watched this channel for a long time about the rod and reel combo. However, I just kind of want to give some highlight to what the thought process is and the logic is for choosing certain things. All right, let's start off by going to Tackle Warehouse, which is where I buy all of my bass fishing needs because it's just, I live in California and it's an overnight kind of thing when they do shipping. And the price is really not that much more expensive or cheaper for that matter than any other site like Bass Pro Shops. But let's talk about the drop shot. So the drop shot is something that I throw a lot, even in the summertime. I've had a rod and reel set up for a very long time I'm just kind of thinking I need another spinning setup because, you need two spinning combos. I only have one and I just need another one. So that's basically what this is boiling down to. This is past any sales or anything that's going on, and I wanted to do it at this particular time because I wanted you to have a realistic expectation of what I'm going to spend on a new setup and what I'm going to buy. And I'm going to buy everything, including hooks, including drop shot weights, including baits, to be honest with you. So it is a spinning setup. So the first place that I always go are the spinning rods. And look, I'm gonna cut to the chase. I'm gonna throw a 13. I like 13 fishing. I really do like the way that they feel in hand, and I only throw 13 because the blanks are all the same and I can get a feel for what a bite actually feels like. You don't have to buy this rod. I'm just showing you what I am going to buy. So this is 13 Fishing's new line of Omens. And they are awesome in my opinion. I only own one, and thankfully they look like some of them are in stock. Some of them are going to be coming in February 24th, which is okay. I don't need this right now. So one of the things with a drop shot, a lot of people have different opinions on this. I will be candid with you. The drop shot spinning setup that I have right now is a medium heavy, and it's the Omen 2 by 13. I really wanted to go to a medium, and I like the 7'1" length because I'm a tall guy and it gives me that little bit of extra leverage. Plus I fish in a lot of grassy areas and it makes it easier for me to pull those fish out of the heavy grass. So unfortunately right now they are not coming into the 24th. For so argument's sake, the price is the same for the medium light and the medium heavy. I'm definitely not going to go medium heavy again. So I'll do a medium light because you know what? It might be just a good idea. So I'm going to add that to the cart. And then I am going to go back up here and I'm going to go to spinning reels. And I'm going to do another 13 again. And right now I have, which one do I have? I have the Creed X spinning reel. It's not let me down. However, the tensioning knob up here sometimes loses its spring, and so you don't hear the clicking noise anymore, and sometimes it gets kind of annoying. So I've heard really great things about the GT lineup, so I am definitely going to get that. One of the things that's interesting is that a lot of people don't realize this is that when it comes to bait casters, you need to pick a left-hand retrieve or a right-hand retrieve. With spinning setups, it doesn't matter. It doesn't work that way. Essentially, you can change it with with just your hands. You don't even need tools on what side of the handle is going to be on the rod. So comes in a 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Because I'm using specifically for fresh water stuff, 2000 has always done me right. If you're not sure what size spinning setup to get, I'll link a video above. For some reason, that video I did, I think over a year and a half ago, is getting really popular. So it's just about the difference in weight from a 2000 to a 3000. And if you're doing fresh water like I am, you don't need a 3000. It's basically what the gist of the video is. So let's go to line, and let's see, base technique. Where's line? Where's line? Hicks, terminal tackles, fishing line. Fishing line. This is really personal preference, but you're going to need two different kinds of line. I back all of my reels with braid. And by back, I mean 3/4 of the reel is typically, whether it's spinning or casting, is braid. So my go-to braid is always been Power Pro. If I learned how to spell, I'd be there already. Am I missing it? It's right there. So for the Power Pro, it really doesn't make a difference to me. I mean, braid's typically loud to begin with. This line of Power Pro, the Max Kutaro, is fantastic. It's obviously more expensive. The reason why it's more expensive is because it's thinner in diameter, so you can put more on a reel. But one of the things that you're going to want, and a lot of anglers want, you really do want a high-vis line, because most likely what's going to end up happening is that you're going to back pretty much 90% of your spinning setup with braid. And the reason why you do that is kind of really twofold. One, it saves you money, but two, braid doesn't have line memory. And because of that, when you cast it out on a spinning setup, it's not going to have all these twists and tangles. Now, probably for me, I use about 14 feet of fluorocarbon. That's the other line we're going to get right now. So, but on the top of the water, what you're going to see is that high vis. So if a fish has something, you can actually follow it around. Yellow happens to be a very popular color. I go with 15 pound. Of course, they are sold out. So maybe I just won't put everything into a cart right now, but I want you to know my thought process. So 15 pound, why am I getting only 15 pound? Why wouldn't I go with a 30? Well, it really has to do with the diameter of the line. And because you're going to be joining, if you're going to be joining an 8-pound test or a 10-pound test fluorocarbon or even a monofilament, the diameter of the lines need to kind of match up. Not perfectly, but close enough to where you can make a good conjoining knot. And essentially, if you get something like a 60-pound test and put it on your spinning setup and try to join a 8-pound or 10-pound test, it tends to be a little bit difficult sometimes. I do that on my casting combos, but I probably have about 100 yards of fluorocarbon, so the tension in the knot isn't as crucial. It's not going to be a real stress point because some of it's still going to be wrapped up in the reel. Hope you're following along with that. So I would get a 15-pound high vis of the Power Pro, and then I would go back into the line section, and then I would pick up some Seaguar. I happen to be a huge, I shouldn't say fan, it's the only thing that I really use is the Invisex by Seaguar. And for a drop shot, and this is going to seem crazy to some people, I actually use 12-pound in some instances because I fish the California Delta and I fish really grassy lakes. But a lot of people will go somewhere in the 10-pound and even 8-pound region because this is supposed to be a finesse application. 10 pounds, perfect as well, but I'm kind of crazy. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that I've ever deterred a fish because of a 12-pound or the difference between a 12-pound and an 8-pound. 12 pounds just good for me because I throw it on pretty much all my casting setups as well. So it's just a good idea to get it in that capacity or that line diameter. So 12-pound, 10-pound, 8-pound fluorocarbon. If you're only getting this for, if you're getting this for a gift for somebody, get the least amount of yardage that can be found right here in the test pound size that you want, simply for the fact that you don't need a ton of it. It'll last you a long time. So 200 yards is a good amount. Keep in mind that we're keeping the whole reel backed with braid as well. So next up, let's talk about hooks and terminal tackle. So a drop shot, I'm not going to explain what it is. But you're going to need a hook, and you're also going to need a weight to kind of rest on the bottom. For hooks, I'm going to keep this really simple. I know exactly which kind of hooks that I use, and some of you are probably going to be shocked, but then I'll just reiterate again on why I use these. I use Gamakatsu, and I use these hooks. Where are they? Offset G lock worm hooks. And I get them in a 2/0. And a lot of people are probably scratching their head that don't live on the West Coast and fish the waters that I fish. But this happens to be a great hook simply for the fact that it's weedless at the end of the day. You know, you can throw this in heavy cover and pull it out and not get snagged on anything. Whereas if you're using just kind of like a little kind of like circle hook, or just kind of like if you're nose hooking your baits, you're going to use obviously a different looking hook, but also you're going to lose and get snagged on a lot of stuff. And I've just found that Texas rigging my soft plastics on this hook, it's the perfect size for what my go-to bait is for a drop shot, and we'll get to that in a second, but just consider it. I get it in a 2/0. It's big enough. The hook is super stout. And like I said, I don't think the fish can really realize what hook that I'm using. So then let's go back to get the weights right now. So the terminal tackle, we're going to go down to weights. And I'm going to keep this simple because I know exactly which brand I want. They are made by Picasso. And yes, kind of an expensive brand when you kind of think about things. But at the end of the day, they make a drop shot weight, and this is it right here. It's the Picasso tungsten casting drop shot weight. It's the cylinder. Now, why do I like this one so much? Well, one, some people like the teardrop. I think that's just personal preference, but it really has to do with this right here. I don't like the drop shot weights where you kind of slide the line into it and you lock it down. I just don't think that they work well. I do like the ability to tie this off completely, do another Palomar knot down there. And honestly, a Palomar knot to me, is the strongest knot. And so you can have some little bit of, pull up and give going to it. So we've got the rod, we've got the reel, we've got the lines, we've got the hooks, and we've got the weights. The last thing that we need are the baits. And for me, I know exactly where I go to. I happen to throw a Zoom, I can't remember the exact name of it, but I'll know it when I see it. It's the trick worm, but it's the small one. Come on, where are you at? There's the Zoom trick worm. Oh, is this a joke? Really? Where'd it go? Oh, there it goes. Zoom finesse worm. Took me long enough, right? And my go-to color is the green pumpkin magic. And I have found, there it is, I have found that this particular color works everywhere. Now, a lot of people will throw, like a hot tip, one of the robo worms, or everybody has their own personal preference. I don't know. I've just had a lot of success with this. One of the things that I think you want to keep in mind too is that when you're picking colors of baits, you're either doing two things, and this is something most people don't realize. You're either matching the color of the forage, and that's to the naked eye. So if it's a shad, but you're fishing a shad area, you want a shad color, drop shot weight, you're going to get something obviously white or pearl color or something that's labeled shad. But the other part that you're kind of matching is you're also matching the bottom of the place you're fishing at. A lot of people don't realize this, is that when you're matching baits to the bottom, what you're doing is you're kind of letting the fish it kind of blends in a little bit more, and you're relying more on the movement. And because the drop shot is such a subtle movement, you're either dragging it or you're kind of hopping it, or you're just dead sticking it down there. Green pumpkin works everywhere. That's why people don't realize that green pumpkin works everywhere, is because it typically matches the bottom of lakes and rivers, because there's dead stuff down there, and green pumpkin kind of looks like a little brown, a little green, a little orange. So that's why it works so well. So that is my total setup for a drop shot. Obviously brands and stuff like that, but this is what I use. And if you've watched enough of my videos, you know that unfortunately the drop shot is in my hands a little bit too much. Hey, thanks for watching these things. Hope everyone's having a great and safe time of the year. I think the overlord of California is going to shut the state down again. So hope to be fishing this weekend with Elvis with Chris. Talk to you soon.